When was this taken?
For Fatima Alić, it's the end of a 20-year wait. She's already buried her husband and one of her sons, who were killed in Srebrenica. But now she's finally getting a chance to say goodbye to her youngest son, Jamal, seen as a baby in this family photo. He was just 17 when he was murdered.
When I was on my way out of Srebrenica, I saw his body next to the road, and there were others with him. They were lined up and they were headless, face down in a ditch, with their feet pointing towards the road. Jamal had no shoes and his feet were white. I guess his blood had drained.
At this cemetery near Sarajevo, they're saying prayers for the latest group of Srebrenica victims, 136 in all, whose remains are being driven to the Potocari memorial site, including Jamal Alić. His remains were discovered in several different places. That's because 20 years ago, Bosnian-Serb forces dug up many bodies from the first mass graves and reburied them across a wide area. Remains are still being found.
This is the first generation ever to witness criminals, after killing their victims and burying them in mass graves, then going back with bulldozers, destroying the bodies and scattering them into different secondary mass graves. One young man's remains were discovered in 5 different mass graves, some 32 kilometers apart.
Despite such challenges, internationally funded laboratories like this have managed to identify most of the Srebrenica victims and some from other atrocities.
The sheer scope and scale of what happened here in the identification process is nothing like what we've worked on elsewhere. The number of missing and the complexity surrounding the reassociation of those samples together, it's on a scale that nobody's ever done before.
Machines like this take DNA samples and turn them into electronic profiles, and it's that kind of technique that's allowed around 7,000 Srebrenica victims to be identified so far, but that still leaves hundreds still missing, and from across Bosnia the number of missing people is estimated at 8,000, so the painstaking scientific work could continue for some time. Fatima will be there this weekend to see leaders from around the world publicly commemorating the victims of Srebrenica. But that can't take away the pain of losing so many loved ones. Nadim, Al Jazeera, Sarajevo.